All right, let's go over to the Dodgers and we'll finish out this NL West outlook before we give our preview, our predictions for where we think they're going to sit way too early during this offseason here. And I start off with this with a question mark here with a Dodger decline question mark. Are we going to see a decline? I think it's inevitable. I mean, 111 wins last year. I think we're obviously going to see a decline. So there's my give you. I'm taking the under on the Dodgers this year. And I'll explain why. They erased a lot of salary. I think this might be a reset year. Colorado Rockies are punting. I think the Dodgers are resetting. They erased a lot of salary, over $100 million. Listen to the players they got rid of. Trey Turner, he goes to Philadelphia. Andrew Heaney goes to Texas. Justin Turner goes to Boston. We see Cody Bellinger to the Cubs. Chris Martin goes to Boston. Joey Gallo to Minnesota. Craig Kimbrell to Philadelphia. I mean, it's just a lot of players. And then obviously with the DFA of Trevor Bauer, there's a lot of money that's up there. We finally see the Dodgers for the first time under the first threshold in the collective bargaining tax. This is a very long time since we've seen that happening. It seems like they are also on the reset. Maybe they don't like what they see on their roster. Maybe they are going to let some of these younger guys really show up. They did bring back Clayton Kershaw, for one more season. And they did sign Noah Syndergaard to a 1-year deal. There's not a 1-year deal I don't like, Sean. So there are some interesting additions to bring in. Obviously, Noah Syndergaard, obviously Kershaw. JD Martinez comes in as well. They did make a trade for Miguel Rojas. I'll break that down in just a minute. But I think we can safely say that the Dodgers are going to decline this season.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't expect a team to repeat 111 wins. That's a given. So I think, off the bat, that's true. But I think the decline is more than just they're not going to win 111 games. I think this is a true decline, not just in the wins and losses, but I think just overall. I think not only have they lost a lot of talent, but the talent they do have, some of it's getting pretty old. Kershaw he keeps hanging on and defying the odds and the doubters and all of that, and good for him. But how much longer, right?
35,
and I guess all they care about is just one more season, just one more, always one more, right? JD Martinez, though, same boat, getting older, and how much longer can he be an elite bat? It's interesting, because they still are so talented. But you're right. I feel like there's a decline there. And in that rotation, it has a lot of question marks. Noah Syndergaard is a name everybody knows. But when you look at it and you break down and look at his performances, it's not overly impressive. And so when I'm just going to pull up their entire rotation here, but looking at Dustin May is another question mark for me. Can he rebound and be healthy for a full season? Excuse me. And again, what can they get from Clayton Kershaw? So looking at that rotation, Julio Urias, Kershaw, and Tony Gonsolin is another one. There's a lot of question marks here. And even if they are healthy and they can, give them a full season, we're not talking about a rotation full of Cy Young candidates. Kershaw is great, and he once was, but I think Urias is obviously their ace. But I think it falls off pretty quick after that, and that to me is a big problem for them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I did hear there was a report circling around this week that they are looking at giving a lot of money, giving the bag to Urias, and I think that's a good idea. I think you build around him like you kind of did with Kershaw over the past decade and a half. Yes, definitely agree with that concept. But yeah, I'm with you. I think that when you see what they added in, a couple old guys to 1-year deals, it seems like they're kind of doing the reset. And I know it could be the question mark. Are they waiting to go all in on Shohei Ohtani when he does not sign a big deal with the Angels? That could be the case. We don't know if we heard that might be the case with also the Padres. So, but 2024 free agent class is huge. So I think we are starting to see teams who are setting themselves up for success. And I know we kind of make the joke about the Rockies punting, and maybe they'll think in 2024. Well, if the Dodgers are resetting and setting themselves up for free agency in 24, we know who's going to win that battle. The Dodgers. They're not afraid to spend money when they will. This is probably the only year we see them below that first tier in the CBT for probably the next 20 years. So if I'm a Dodgers fan right now, it might be a frustrating year for you. However, just remember this. There is that extra wild card spot. Even if you are having a quote unquote reset year, I still see the Dodgers in playoff contention, Sean.
Oh, absolutely. This is still a very good team. And so, I was listening to you, say if you're a Dodgers fan and like it's going to be disappointing if you're expecting 111 wins.
Right.
That's the difference here, right? Like this is still a good team. This is still going to be a playoff team. And don't make the mistake of thinking that they're not going to do something at the trade deadline to help in that cause, right? So they're not going to just sit back and say, yeah, well, whatever happens, happens, right? Like they're still in it and very much in that mix, but it is definitely going to be a step back for them this coming season, and that's just the reality of being one of the best teams in baseball over an extended period of time, right? It's just there are going to be seasons where you're not necessarily looking like the best, but you're definitely in it anyway.
Miguel Rojas comes over in a trade from Miami. He was like the team leader on that squad with Miami, who obviously has had their own struggles of their own. Now he heads over to Los Angeles. Even though there are a lot of players that are leaving and heading out of that team, he's going to fall into a position where he doesn't have to be that leader. He's going to possibly be the everyday shortstop. That is still a possibility. Obviously, some tough shoes to fill at Trey Turner, but he doesn't have to have that clubhouse responsibility. Rojas is a great player. We've seen some great things from him throughout the years. Obviously, Toronto, or obviously, the Los Angeles making that trade, they know what they're getting. I think this could be a nice up year for Rojas. I think this could be a year where he only focuses on some baseball activities, not clubhouse activities, not worrying about community activities or the entire Miami Marlins organization like we've seen over the past years. I mean, that's honestly what he had to do, if you
Yeah.
remember that. So when you see this guy and you see that he could be the potential everyday shortstop, I have a lot. This is like fantasy. If you're a fantasy baseball guy, he's a sneaky sleeper pick, in my opinion.
Yeah, I wonder how much he'll be able to contribute with the bat. I don't know that they certainly don't need him to. They don't need to rely on him. He doesn't have to be a Trey Turner, but he will be a very good defender at shortstop, and that I think is what you're paying for, right? That's what you're trading for. That's what you're bringing in, and anything he chips in with the bat is just kind of gravy at this point. So in my mind, he'll be their starting shortstop with Gavin Lux moving over to second. And they don't need him to contribute anything really with the bat at all. So anything he can do on that regard is just gravy. But they got him for his glove, very clearly a glove first shortstop, and fits in rather well actually in this Dodgers team.